In a quiet courtroom filled with tension, a man sat calmly, facing the woman he once promised forever to. This wasn't just a divorce, it was a full-blown battle for truth, dignity, and justice. Amir and Hania had what many believed was a picture-perfect marriage. He was a hard-working accountant, reserved and focused. She was charismatic, socially active, and always in the spotlight. For years, they smiled at family functions, posted vacation selfies, and gave the illusion of a strong partnership. But behind closed doors, resentment brewed. The cracks began to show when Amir noticed large sums missing from their joint accounts. Hania always had an explanation: gifts for friends, family emergencies, donations, but the money kept disappearing. One day, while reviewing old bank statements, Amir stumbled upon a transfer he didn't authorize. It was made to a man neither of them knew. He didn't confront her immediately. Instead, he hired a private investigator. What came back shattered him. Not only had Hania been siphoning money for over 2 years, but she had also started a new life. Luxury purchases, travel with someone else, and even talks of starting a business abroad under a different name. The betrayal wasn't just emotional, it was financial, strategic, and deeply calculated. When Amir finally confronted her, she filed for divorce first, accusing him of financial abuse and emotional neglect. The world around them took her side initially. After all, she was expressive, vocal, and had already set the narrative. But Amir came to court prepared, with evidence, timelines, financial records, and testimonies. What happened next left the entire courtroom silent. Before we reveal the shocking details that turn the case on its head, take a moment to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. We bring you real legal stories with intense twists and powerful takeaways every single day. Now let's go deeper into how Amir turned the tables. He stared at the court summons again, still trying to wrap his head around it. The woman he had once trusted with everything was now painting a version of him in court that didn't even resemble who he was. She wasn't just accusing him of abandonment. She was asking for full custody, alimony, and half of everything he owned. He felt cornered, but not broken. Instead, something inside him ignited. Maybe it was the injustice of it all, or the realization that staying silent would only let lies win. Whatever it was, he decided this wouldn't be another case where the truth got buried under polished lies and emotional performances. He hired a private investigator. What they uncovered sent chills down his spine. While she was accusing him of emotional cruelty and neglect, she had been living a completely separate life. Expensive dinners charged to a secret card, hotel bookings that didn't match any timeline she gave, and late-night messages with a man who wasn't just a friend, he was someone she had been seeing for nearly a year. Still, he didn't want revenge. He wanted justice. In court, he didn't speak with venom. He presented evidence. Cold, clear facts, financial records, photos, testimonies. And then came the hardest part. He spoke about how he still hoped for peace, but not at the cost of his dignity or his son's future. The courtroom shifted. It wasn't rage or drama that made people lean in. It was a man, betrayed, yet composed, showing the power of restraint and truth. His wife's lawyer tried to redirect. They brought up old arguments, framed him as emotionally unavailable, even tried to suggest the investigation was manipulative. But every time, the facts stood firmer than accusations. The judge took notice, and behind the scenes, people were watching. Other men who had stayed quiet in their divorces, women who had been told that only they could claim emotional damage. This case, it was becoming more than personal. It was becoming a conversation. But the courtroom wasn't done revealing its truths. As the trial resumed, the husband's legal team made a bold move. They subpoenaed financial records from the wife's new business, a company she had started shortly after the separation. On paper, it looked like an innocent boutique startup, but the numbers told another story. The business had been funded with hundreds of thousands of dollars, money that had quietly disappeared from the couple's shared accounts just months before the split. Under oath, she denied any wrongdoing, claimed she used a personal loan, not marital assets. But her emails, introduced as evidence, told a different tale. Conversations with a financial advisor revealed plans to secure funds before the divorce gets messy. That line changed everything. The courtroom went silent. Even her own attorney seemed shaken. The husband, who had once looked defeated and cornered, now had the momentum. His expression remained calm, but behind his eyes you could see a storm that had waited years to rise. Then came testimony from a former friend of the wife, someone who had been pushed away during the marriage. She shared stories of manipulation, of how the wife had plotted to isolate her husband financially and emotionally, of how she'd openly joked about trading up once her business took off. The audience in the courtroom was visibly stunned. Even the judge's tone shifted, less neutral, more probing. And just when it seemed it couldn't get any more dramatic, the husband's lawyer played a voicemail. A message left on the wife's phone by a mystery man. A voice warm and intimate, calling her by a nickname no one in court had heard before. "Don't worry," he said. "Soon you'll be free, and the money will be ours." The wife's composure cracked for the first time. Her hands trembled. Her eyes darted to her attorney, then to the floor. She was no longer in control. The truth was clawing its way out, piece by piece. And the audience, both in court and online, because yes, the case had gone viral by now, was glued to every second. What began as a simple divorce had become a public reckoning, a battle not just for money, but for justice, reputation, and closure. But the final judgment still remained. Would the court see through every layer of lies, or was there still another secret buried beneath it? The courtroom fell silent as the final day of the trial began. For weeks, the husband's legal team had meticulously dismantled the lies, exposing timelines, transactions, and even text messages that directly contradicted the wife's earlier testimony. One of the most shocking moments came when a forensic specialist revealed that several of the wife's evidence screenshots were digitally altered, intentionally manipulated to support her claims of abuse. The judge was visibly disturbed. What was once a one-sided narrative now hung in balance, teetering between truth and manipulation. The husband's defense wasn't just a plea for his innocence, it became a statement for all falsely accused individuals. He looked directly at the judge during his final words. "Your Honor, I loved my wife. I gave her everything. But I will not let a lie define me, nor destroy the man I worked so hard to become." Outside the courtroom, public opinion shifted. The same media outlets that once vilified him began airing both sides. Activists and commentators who initially supported the wife started withdrawing their early judgments. Finally, the verdict was announced. Not only was the husband found not guilty of the accusations, but the court also initiated a separate investigation into potential perjury and defamation charges against the wife. It was a rare, powerful moment of accountability and a reminder that truth often takes time to rise, but when it does, it can be liberating. After the trial, the husband chose not to seek revenge. He moved to a quieter city, started a legal awareness nonprofit for wrongfully accused men, and slowly began to rebuild. His story wasn't just about surviving betrayal, it was about reclaiming his voice in a system that nearly took it away. This case became more than courtroom drama. It sparked national debates about gender bias, truth in testimony, and the need for due process in emotionally charged cases. A man's quiet resistance became a loud message. Not every victim wears the same face. Thank you for watching this gripping story unfold. If you found this eye-opening and powerful, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more real-life cases and dramatic courtroom stories. We bring you new content every day. Don't miss what's next. Stay informed. Stay aware.